Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to round 2 of the RaceFace GT3 Sprint Series here on iRacing. My name is Stephen Koenig. Good to have you guys here. It's going to be an absolutely banger of a race that we've got for you as our drivers head out for qualifying. So, that being said, before we take a look at what our qualifying times are, let's take a look at where our points are standing at the moment. As we pull up our pro points to be battling it out, just want to try and get some eyes on for it. There we go. Jason Coetzee leading out the top of the points, tied with Noah Hendricks. Edward Simpson currently running in third place. Mark Heron in fourth. Daniel Petro in fifth. Sixth place is Werner Swart, followed by Luca Kesi, Willem Buerta, Jans Bommers, and Luka Logovic. Continuing out of our top 10, we got Yaz Samai, Gerald Ferree, Paul Gerber, Raymond Duggan, Julian Familiaris, Brandon Robert, Cabello Matsamai, and Jeff Hancox lying in 18th position. So that is our pros. Let's take a look at our pro-ams. It's Doug Gerber on 115 points, followed by Fani Gravenstein on 78, Etienne Swart, Robbie Teen, Stephen Craigbead, along with Peter van der Spey, Abdul Haman Kazov, Rowan Ferreira, Hilton Nixon, Julian Boma. A little further down, Ryan van Wyk, Paul Hurley, Quinton Costa, Dimitri Pravadas, Stephen Akutsa, Greg van Wyk. And then we have got Leon Vessels, Herman Lazarus, Paul Nadir, and Louis Nokia in 20th position. Moving on to our Pro-Am standings. Veynon Kursop leading the top of the charts. Yippee Summons in second place. Paul Weber in third. Onno Kraus lying in fourth place. And then fifth, Willem Pienaar and Duncan Rodnick going and rounding out our pros. Our AM drivers. But let's head down to the grid as we got qualifying underway. And you can see the spray coming off the vehicles. We saw a couple of cars getting all out of shape, like Brandon Roberts just done, where the tail steps out, and unfortunately it is wet out there, ladies and gentlemen, so drivers are having to fight through some very, very difficult conditions. The track at the moment is unfortunately a tad on the wetter side, so drivers are having to be a little bit more cautious. It is starting to dry up, and here at Spa it does make it rather tricky. We have got a couple of people, MC going and saying good luck to everybody, and Project Vapor saying good luck to everyone tonight as well. That's always great to hear and see a couple of the drivers. So Raymond Duggan trying to put in the time. Yuri Umpiswar trying to put in the time. But no one has been able to get a valid lap time on the board. We're well over halfway through our qualifying, and no one is able to get that lap time out on the board, which is a little bit of a concern for every single one of our drivers of who's going to be able to put themselves up at the top, because it's a gamble at this point. See a couple of drivers trying to push themselves a little bit as we take a look to Greg van Niekerk going and battling it out. Greg trying to keep it all together and see how he can close up on the rest of the field. So let's see if he's able to keep it all together. We also got 2 new sponsors on board, and let's let you know about them. We've got Scallywags jumping on board with us, and Red Star Raceway, now part of the entire series right here at RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. As we watch for more times to come onto the board, it is going to be Julian Familiaris putting himself at the top of the charts, and John van Rensburg currently in second place as he makes his way through. Daniel Petro puts himself in second place. Fourth place, Hilton Nixon. Yippee Summons putting himself into fifth. So currently a Pro 1-2, Pro-Am. Well, scratch that. Yuri Swart puts himself up into third place. John van Rensburg trying to dig deep here, try and move his way through it. Dimitri Provadas, Roland Ferreira getting into 6th. Hilton Nixon currently running in 7th place. Farney Graveseen out in 8th. We'll drop him down to 9th because Doug Herber puts in a quick lap time. Yippee Simons falling down into 10th. Robbie Teens is able to get a time on the board. He's in 11th position. Still many cars needing to get themselves out at the top of the charts. And it's still open cards at this point to see who's going to do it. As we keep an eye on the live timing, seeing who's going to be able to get themselves that little bit more, who's going to climb up the ladder as it stands. It's going to be an outright charge for whoever can do it. As you see, we got a couple of new names coming onto the board. They're joining us here tonight and try to get their classes in as quickly as possible. Mahath Musa being one of them, Chevy Basson and Corey Price going and also being into the mix of it, which is always fantastic to have some good names, some familiar names, some new names to the world of Raceface being on the board. As our drivers battle in these very slippery conditions, trying to keep it all together, not turning into an easy thing as the cars want to step out. They want to rotate quite a bit at the moment, so everyone having to really just concentrate on how they're going to just slowly get themselves on the right track for this. As qualifying unfortunately comes to an end, drivers unable to put themselves into the top spots, unable to get those lap times in right at the end. So not going to be an easy run for our drivers. Let's see who's going to be able to stand on the top of the charts as we go down to the grid. So that being said, let's take a look at our grid for tonight. And it is Luke Lucchesi out in first place with Julian Familiaris, Noah Hendricks, Daniel DeMarchos Petro, Yuri Swart, Jean van Rensburg, Willem Buerta, Jan Sparmers going down, Roland Ferreira, Hilton Nixon, Doe Gerber, Willem Pina, Duncan Roderick, Chevy Basson, Yasin Ismail, and Farney Graveseen into 20th position. 25th though. So going through, we've got Rafael de Souza, Christopher McDuff, Yas Amai, Gerald Ferree, Paul Hurley, Mark Heron, Raymond Duggan, and Werner Swart. Continuing down the mix. We have got Corey Price, Mahath Musa, Greg van Niekerk, along with Abdul Ahmad Kasaf, Stephen Cakebread, Jeff Hancox, Ryan van Veek, Stephen Kutzer, Manlozi Gabashi, Quinton Costa, Etienne Swart, Brandon Roberts, Arno Kraus, Herman Lazarus, Vanen Kursup, Louis Nokia, and Kabila Matsmai, Peter van der Spey, and Paul Nadir rounding out in 51st. So much to talk about, so much to go on. Drivers at the ready. Luca Kezi at the top of the charts, lining up against Julian Familiaris, who's looking to try and leg it away early on. These two have a history with one another. They know how to fight one another, and they're not afraid to go door to door on the way through. So let's keep an eye out on them, see who will be able to stand on the top of the charts when the drivers get going. Safety car rolling. And now it is time to get some heat into those brakes. Try and get yourself ready for a very quick start. They're going to head through the bus stop to start off with, and that's where everything's going to tighten up. Everyone's been told maybe a bit of single file racing is going to be a good idea. We'll see how things get going. And we will update and get going. So our drivers filing their way through. Luke Lucchesi going to be starting out. Has got Julian Familiaris eyeing himself out, ready for the jump. Waiting for the green lights. Waiting, chomping at the bit. As they get ready to go. It is 51 cars of absolute madness at this point. Rounding the corner, staring down Eau Rouge. Everyone fighting to get some brakes ready. It does look like we got a little bit of a blip through on one of the cars. Green lights in, we are going racing. Luke Lucchesi will get the jump. Goes center of the track. Daniel Petro going around the outside though. Going to make it 3 wide up through Eau Rouge. He sticks it through. Noah Hendricks trying to battle it out. He puts himself into third place. Luke Lucchesi getting drive. But Julian Familiaris with a terrible run up the hill now needs to battle it out as they fight their way on. Noah Hendricks trying to keep an eye on what's happening with Julian Familiaris as Yuri Swart trying to look up on the inside. Goes late on the brakes, tries to sink it in. Couldn't quite get on the brakes early enough as they battle their way around. Daniel Petro has taken the top spot on the way through. So absolute great running on his part to just try and get going. Luke Lucchesi running in second place as, oh, Noah Hendricks into the wall. Noah Hendricks is into the wall and is out of that. He's going to have to try and get the car towed back to the pits. Julian Familiaris currently running side by side with Van Rensburg, but Van Rensburg on the brakes, gets past, no issues there. Yuriampi Swart trying to come back at him. He's got Jan Sparmers all over the back of him. Willem Buerta chasing him down. Dimitri Pavardis currently lying in second place of our Pro-Ams, trying to see if he can get closer to Van Rensburg, who is leading our Pro-Ams. Leon Vessels, third of our Pro-Ams. First of our Ams, though, is Paul Webber. He's keeping it absolutely pinned, not wanting to back out from the fight. Will try and make his way through. So let's see how this is going to turn out for him as our drivers focus on the charge at hand. Who's going to be able to claw their way to victory? But at the moment, top of the charts, Daniel Petro leading out with Luke Lucchesi trying to chase him down. Not able to close the gap through Blanchemont into bus stop maybe. A little bit more ginger with the tires side by side as Van Rensburg goes next to Julian Familiaris, but Julian getting it cinched in. He opens up the door as Yuriampi Swart tries to come back at him. So Yuriampi Swart will carry the momentum as Van Rensburg defends that inside line, going for much like what he does in the world of ovals. Defend the inside line, force the drivers to the high line and get themselves going. Yuriampi Swart going to use a little bit of his tactics he's learned out on track in real life. Go and put the car around the outside, carry the tow, try and spot where there is a gap in the order. He lost out the drive through Eau Rouge, and here comes Jan Sparmers out of nowhere. He's going to be trying to force a move, looks for the inside. Can he put the pressure on? Tries to take a look, second guesses it. Going to go a little bit later on the braking. Oh no, just couldn't get it cinched in. Trying his luck though, as he looks for a way to get past. As our drivers just doing everything they can to keep it all out on track, keep it all sorted out. Not going to be an easy run for them. We did see Noah Hendricks unfortunately go and have a tail snap on him. He was thrown out early on in the race. There's hoping they can carry up the momentum. Jan Sparmers putting pressure once again onto the back of Yuriampi Swart. But yellow flags are waving for Abdul Mankasov. And here he is. Abdul trying to make his way through. Not going to be an easy run. And unfortunately the tail going and snapping out underneath him. And that was all she wrote for that little car. So, SA Girl saying, come on, Paul, keep up the hard work. And a little bit of banter going on in the grandstands. Always fantastic to see. But out in front, Daniel Petro has run away from the likes of Luke Kezi. Julian Familiaris, as he's scratching his head trying to figure out what to do. Van Rensburg has pulled a little bit of a gap to Jurian Piswat. Then we've got Jan Sparmers. Willem Buerta now onto the back of him. Buerta trying to battle it out. Dimitri Privadas coming and making in a great appearance as he fights his way through. Kathleen Jensen had the honor of racing against her out on track this past weekend. To tell you, insanely quick driver, going and battling against some of the best in South Africa and around the world. Paul Webber doing everything he can. And we've got spinner. That is Jan Sparmers, who has come out of bus stop, lost it, lost one and possibly two positions. Paul Webber's got him on the inside. Jan Vessel's going to also try and keep it close. Jan Sparmers forced to the outside. He's able to carry the momentum. Webber is going to go side by side with Jan Sparmers, but fortunately just losing out the drive on that 296 Ferrari. Leon Vessel's though going to try and come back at him, looking left and right, and that has allowed Sosa to come and give a huge amount of chase as he gets right onto the back of him. Kabelo Matsumai getting yellow flags though. Let's go and try and drop back and see what happens to Kabelo Matsumai out in the big Mercedes, fighting out with the 111. Late on the brakes, tries to hook it in. Oh, contact, second contact, third contact. And that is a rough run for all three drivers involved. Kabelo Matsumai getting put as the meat in that sandwich, losing out his run. Rafael de Souza trying to battle his way through, has got Leon Vessels onto the back of him. Then behind them, Christopher McDuff sliding his way through. Jason Coetzee, Edward Simpson, along with Chavir Bazon coming and giving a huge chase, trying to make his way through. Mark Heron, Jensen Ismail, Mahath Musa, Hilton Nixon, Raymond Duggan, along with Yaz Hamai, Werner Swart, Gerald Fareed, Doug Herber, Paul Hurley, Kabelo Matsumai, Yuppie Simons, along with Ryan van Veek, Etienne Swart, Noah Hendricks. Abdul is running a little bit further back. We saw him unfortunately have a rough running together. Herman Lazarus out in the McLaren has got Mandalozzi, who's looking seriously damaged. Paul Nadia makes short work of him. Jeff Hancock's trying to battle back in the Mustang with Peter van der Spey, Arno Kraus, Fonny Gravenstein, Stephen Cakebreed, Greg van Niekerk a little bit further back. He's just trying to keep it together. And Stefan Kutzer, Roland Ferreira, Quinton Kutzer, along with Willem Pienaar in the pits. So a couple of drivers, unfortunately, not able to get those drives that they want. But out in front, Daniel Petros left these two to fight it out. Julian Familiaris and Luke Lucchesi, as Luke has lost out that second place. He's lost out to Julian Familiaris. He's going to try to come back at him, though. Looks for the inside line. Couldn't get it sorted out. And Julian, with that Lamborghini, is now starting to pull away, being the Bulls run at this point. Sean van Rensburg has got Yuriumpi Swart onto the back of him. Willem Buerta chasing him down. Dimitri not too far behind, so don't count him out of the mix just as yet, as our drivers are starting to open up small little cells of where they are fighting. And one of the cars leaving the pits, unfortunately, getting caught out there. That was Duncan Roderick that got caught out. And he's having to try and... Sorry, that might be Stefan Kutzer that actually got caught out there and allowed Willem Buerta to lose out the drive. And Yuriumpi Swart immediately into the mix of things, trying to close his way up into the race. So Yuriumpi Swart battling it out, looks for the inside line, can't get it hooked in as yet, going to have to wait behind Willem Buerta. The RDSA Esports Porsche running out very wide, so does Yuriumpi Swart. That's going to add an incident point. Remember, you can still get drive-through penalties, but Dimitri Privadas going and fighting it out with Caitlin Jensen who is trying to go and fight as much as possible. Looks inside, looks outside. Can't get past just as yet. Caught in that toe. That's not helping the case at this point. So drivers are clawing their way through, trying to figure out what's going to work. But they will have one pit stop in this race that will go and change things up. So what you're doing right now is just trying to manage your tires and try and guess whether it's all going to dry up. But Dimitri not having that luck as he's going side by side. Jensen's going to go around the outside, continues the drive, sweeps across the nose, gets past, hooking that 7th position, nearly getting unsteady. Dimitri going to come back at Kathleen, looking left, looking right, and a second guesses it. As we do see Willem Botha trying to go side by side with number 29 of Jan van Rensburg, but just can't get the drive from Rensburg coming across the nose, saying not going to happen, buddy. You're going to have to work a little bit harder on that one. As they charge their way through, late braking, sweeps across the nose, gets the pass, done and dusted. That's going to leave Willem Botha guessing at this point. He's going to be thinking, what do I need to do to try and get past as they make their way up. This is just a shot of some of that roost tail coming off. A little bit of a snap oversteer though, and into the wall. Willem Botha, snap oversteer. That has cost him a huge amount of time. Stuck the yellow flag out, and that has put Kathleen on a little bit on the back foot. I think she backed off the throttle, and Dimitri was not having any of it. Now has got the inside line, tries to get past. That little turtle is not sleeping at this point. Sorry, that's all the Z's, not N's. If it turns to the side, it could be it. But the driver not having an easy time against Jensen. Jurion Piswart getting ahead of Willem Botha. Rafael de Souza getting ahead of Christopher McDuff. Then Jan Sparmers defending against Jason Coetzee. Tries to buck him to the inside. Tries to get that little bit of a jolt. Force the car to buck around and move left and right. See if he can unsteady the rear, considering he's taking all the pressure off the nose. And in these conditions, it doesn't help. But Jason, keeping a wires ahead here, will continue to drive. Yasin Ismail a little bit further down, keeping ahead of Edwin Simpson. And Leon Vessels going side by side. He's got Robbie Teens, who's stuck on the outside, loses out that drive. So Leon Vessels loses out to Robbie Teens, and now has got Raymond Duggan all over the back of him. Raymond's going to try and come and really stand on the gas. Sweeps across the nose, gets the pass, done. Robbie Teens doing everything he can as they mine their way through one of the back markers. And it looks like Mahath Musa coming in for a fight as well. Unfortunately, one of the cars going off circuit. Leon Vessels has got Mark Heron, Chibi Son, Hilton Nixon, Werner Swart right on the back of him. A little bit further back, Camilo Matsumai limping the car around, trying to keep it all in check. Then Yaz Semai around the outside. He gets a bit of a pass done. Trying to carve his way through side-by-side racing. Abdul and Gerard Farid are going to go and give it horns, but it does look like Abdul getting the pass over Gerald Farid, who backs out, chooses not to get in the fight, but has got Ryan van Veek immediately onto the back of him. Ryan going to go around the outside, going to fight it tooth and nail at this point. As we see a bit of a battle going ahead with a couple of our back markers. That is the number 33 of Roland Ferreira, who is going after Duncan Roderick at this point. And just not able to get the drive. Duncan Roderick right ahead of him. But now he is compromising the drive of a couple of cars, the lapping cars. So that is going to play a little bit into their hands. Ryan van Veek pulling away. Gerald Farid getting swallowed up at this point. Etienne Swart now trying to battle it out. Paul Nordia doing everything he can to hold his position. Running 10th in class of our Pro-Am, bouncing to try and make it through, as we do see Ryan van Veek going and crashing out. That's going to drop him through the order. So unfortunately, Not ideal circumstances there, as we see a little bit of a fight going on. Gerald Ferrari and Etienne Swart battling it out. They managed to get past Duncan Roderick, but it got a little bit too close for comfort on the way through. Back up to the top running order though, our top 7, as Jurien P. Swart is in a fight with Willem Buerta, still having a good go at him, looking left and right, seeing where on earth can they get by, how can they go and get themselves going. So some proper racing there. Willem Buerta and Jurien P. Swart battling it out, seeing what they can do, having the drivers and teams really get in and support as they carve their way through. Not going to be an easy fight between them. Willem Buerta tries to continue the drive, looking left, looking right, seeing where exactly can he get by. Rafael de Souza, Jan Spalmers is in a bit of a challenge. He's got Jason Coetzee still behind him, giving him a rough time. Mike Musa in a little bit no man's land, but right behind him, Raymond Duggan, Christopher McDuff, and Robbie Teens, all in a great fight. As Robbie Teens trying to go around the outside, going to go late on the brakes, hopefully has the run for the inside of bus stop. Can he get it sorted out? He gets the pass done and dusted as Christopher McDuff dives into the pits. And that has changed the face of their race, ladies and gentlemen. So all the drivers getting a little bit more out in the run, but with everyone doing their pit stops, that is going to develop the race a little bit further. Edward Simpson going and keeping ahead of Mark Heron. Cabello Matsumai still out there, even with the damage, taking the fight. He's going to go around the outside of Chevy Basson, and Werner Swart giving a slight flash, saying to Chevy, okay buddy, I'm coming through you, don't worry about me. I'm going to get you up through a Rouge Radion. Chevy right onto the back of Cabello. So Savesh Basson fighting it out with Cabello Matsumai. Cabello will have 0 straight line, so he's going to have to get very defensive here, get very creative. Werner Swart's going to try and follow him through, but Mark Heron of that asymmetric racing BMW keeping ahead of Werner Swart and Savesh Basson, who just couldn't get the pass done and dusted. Werner back on the attack, trying to figure out how can he get round. But out in the front, Daniel Demetrios Petro still leads the race as they fight their way through. So it's still game on at the top of the running for our drivers, but so much still left on the line, so much time left to go. It is a 30-minute race. We do have 2 heats in this race, so don't go and count out that, as it does change things up for our drivers. We have to think a little bit long term here, because we will take our top 5 overall and reverse them. But with 2 heats, you don't want to really burn all your energy out in heat 1. There is our running. Petro out in first for Pro. Janssen currently leading Pro-Am. And Am is Basson as he looks to take the fight. Rafael de Souza, though, gets it sideways. And, oh, the slightest of tags onto the back of Jan Spalmers, who is counting his lucky stars at this point. Mahath Musa, though, is going to go around the outside. Oh, Jan Spalmers losing the rear of the car. So that has thrown him down. He's having to wait to get going and get racing once again. That will immediately have Cabello onto the back of him. And it gets past without too much of an issue. Werner Swart gets past. Shavish Basson gets past. So that has gone and swapped things up for them, as our Pro-Am has now all changed. So, our Pro-Am, Dimitri Provadas leading out the top of the charts. Mahath Musa in the top of the charts as Kathleen Jensen pulls into the pits, serving her pit stop before getting back out and racing once again. Daniel Demetrio Petro still with a monstrous gap over the likes of Julian Familiaris, who's running in second place. Dimitri Provadas running in third. Yuri Umpi Swart third in class. running fourth with Willem Buerta, and having to contend in a very, very close race at this moment with Jurien Swart all over the back of him. Mahath Musa has closed up the gap, so don't count him out of the fray. A couple of incidents, though, has gone and taken the entire race, swapped it on its head. But as it stands, our drivers figuring out what they can do. Werner Kursop, unfortunately, going and spending some time in the pits, saying that he didn't have the best of starts, and now will have to work his way back. Daniel Demartros-Petro pulls into the pits. Will Julius Familiaris join in? Time running out, though. I think it's going to be a pit stop for Julian Familiaris. The Lambos can go a little bit far at this point, but it is risky. How much time will be lost through it all? Dimitri Provadas keeping ahead of Jurien Swart will also be trying to figure this one out as he sees the top two have pulled into the pits. Willem Buerta trying to give it everything he's got. Looks around the outside of Jurien Swart. Will he be able to do a little bit of a cutback? Will he fight his way through? As it looks like he's going to pull in the pits. Jurien Swart's going to keep going. Mahath Musa is going to keep on the gas. Jason Coetzee is remaining out on the track as well. So, a little bit of contact coming into play. Yellow flags getting kicked up for one of our drivers. And that was De Sousa having a bit of a problem. That's through Blanchemont heading into bus stop. Rafael De Sousa in the Ferrari, going side by side, jumps the curb, slight contact against Cabello. He gets twisted around. And I think made the choices of a lot of drivers to get into the pits. So everyone having to fight their way through, figure out how they can get the jump on the running order. And considering so much is on the line for our drivers, who will be able to get the jump? Well, Jurien Swart leads out that charge with Mahath Musa all over the back of him. Jason Coetzee trying to keep up and figure out where can he get by, as we do have Ryan van Wyk in the mix of things. He is keeping up with first and second as it stands, but he cannot interfere in their battle as Mahath Musa gets a pass done and dusted. Jurien Swart drops into second, keeps an eye on the rearview mirror though, as we do have one of our back markers trying to unlap themselves as it stands. So this is going to be a little bit of a rough one they're going to have to think about. That's Leon Wessels, who's now in 33rd position. Leon Wessels gets by. So Jurien Swart losing out well, he doesn't lose our position, but loses out a little bit of time as Wessels gets up and gets going. Hopefully he can continue the momentum, but Jurien Swart losing a lot of drive. That's all I could see to get right into the back of him and close up the gap as they make their way through Blanchemont. Cabello Matamai currently running in 4th place. Daniel Demartros-Petro out in 5th place as the track starts to lighten up in areas. Luke Lucchesi, got Fanny Gravenstein all over the back of him. Kathleen Jensen trying to fight it out. So we got RDSA, we got the likes of ETA Autosports with the SA Lube written all over the car, and one of the Pandacity drivers all into a mix here. And Kathleen trying to get around, looks around the outside, going to try and keep her foot absolutely buried with the Ferrari. Gets the pass done and dusted. Luke Lucchesi is now the target ahead. Fanny Gravenstein losing out a lot of drive. Suddenly now needs to think about how can he make up that little bit of time as more drivers are diving into the pits. Mahath Musa, Jurien Swart, Jason Coetzee, and Cabello Matamai dive into the pits. Puts Daniel Demartros-Petro back into 1st place. But Luke Lucchesi and Kathleen Jensen, who are currently fighting it out, will be moving up through the order. They're going to jump into 2nd and 3rd position as it stands. So some great turn of events at the moment. Jensen currently 2nd overall with Luke Lucchesi trying to battle it out. in third place. Second in class, gets the drive. Going up the hill. Now it's going to be who climbs on the brakes the latest, as Luca Kesi is going to try keep it all together. Track drying out. Jensen able to carry a little bit of momentum through. Slight puddles on the circuit will change out the track surface for a lot of the drivers, but it does look like it's starting to get warmer and warmer. Dry tires is going to be the option to play for. So for our pro, it is Daniel Demetrios Petro, Kathleen Jensen in our pro, leading our pro-am, and then Gambashi going and running first in the AM class. Might I just point out, Mandalozi, Gambashi, we don't get to talk about Mandalozi too much, but now leading out his class in the AM, running 14th overall. No sneeze effort there as he charges his way on for a great run. Dimitri Provadas going and battling it out with the likes of Van Rensburg. He's going to go a little bit of a deep send. Gets it done and dusted. He's able to carry the momentum through. Provadas going to look to keep into the mix of things. Not going to be an easy run for them. Raymond Duggan trying to fight it out. A little bit further back. Jason could see, hoping that he can stick in the fight between them. Raymond Duggan unfortunately getting caught up on number 33, and there's Roland Ferreira, who minds out of the way. Says, listen, you're not in my race. Well, you're not in my fight at this point. I'm going to give it a little bit of a gap, as our fastest lap time of the race does get set by Daniel Demetrios Petro with a 2:19.92. If that tells you how the track's starting to transform, that's going to be the big telltale sign for our drivers. Dimitri right up against the back of Raymond Duggan, not able to carry the momentum through the likes of Blanchemont just as yet. Will have to back down, think about it. They get caught behind one of the Saxon Violent Ferrari. That's either Quinton Van Veek that's either Quinton Costa or Greg Van Veek. For Niekerk, I do apologize. Greg for Niekerk, as they make their way past. So one of our Saxon Violins, our Red Star cars, keeping it all out and keeping it all together. So a little bit further down, we have got Christopher McDuff and Willem Buerter going side by side. They're going to challenge each other up the hill. Up through a Rouge, who can carry the momentum. Does look like the Chevy a little bit more put together. Unfortunately, will get bottled up on the exit. Has to run out wide. As they suddenly have that is, I think, Greg Van Niekerk. Yes, it is. It's Greg Van Niekerk of the Saxon Violins going and being a little bit of a mobile chicane there, but in turn just holding his line, exactly what you need to do as the rules dictate. So some great racing on the way through, but not so fun times for Dimitri as he lands up with a bit of a problem from 14th position. Runs off circuit. Oh, just puts a wheel off the dirt and major impact into the wall. That, unfortunately, is a very squared off Ferrari that has now lost a bit of time. Raymond Duggan gets past Urian Piswat, who seems to be battling at this point. Tires not carrying all the way through. Jason Coetzee has got Christopher McDuff. So we're starting to see the tires come into play. As everyone tries to keep it all together. Times coming down to 19.8. Dry tires and wet tires. Who selected the best? Who went for the gamble on the weather conditions? And I think we're starting to see who took those dry tires as making their way around. That's paying off at this point of the race. Jan Sparmers, Dimitri Provadas, who has got some serious damage on the car, is just trying to limp the car back. Abdul Haman Kosov, along with Shivish Basson. Yasin Ismail all over the back of him, is going to look for a pass. Couldn't get it all sorted out. Mark Heron is keeping ahead of Rafael Souza. Hilton Nixon up on the inside. Paul Nordier is carrying the momentum. So Paul's going to do everything he can on the back of Hilton Nixon. Says unfortunately he's not too comfortable with the BMW. Etienne Swart, though, getting the momentum in the Porsche, is fighting out Noah Hendricks, who is going to go around. Noah Hendricks trying to redeem himself after the F4s here at Spa. and he's doing a great job at this point, running in 23rd. Did have the earlier contact that cost him a bit of time. He's going to go side by side with Hilton Nixon. Gets a pass done and dusted. Makes short work of him through the bus stop. And well done for that. Finally, Gravesy out of nowhere gets a drive. He gets past likes of Etienne Swart and Werner Swart. Leaves those two to deal with one another and says, listen, brothers, you deal with one another. I'm going to get going and leave you both behind. But change out towards the sharp end of the field, though, as Daniel Martros-Petro currently leading out the charge. Jensen in second place. And we have got Julian Familiaris running in third. Luke Lucchesi running in fourth as he tries to make his way through. This is only Heat 1, ladies and gentlemen, of the race. We do have 2 heats to come. Mahath Musa running second in class of our Pro-Ams, with Jean van Rensburg running in third of the class as he makes his way through. But coming across the line, Daniel Demartros-Petro getting the win for Pro and for overall for Heat 1. He's going to be smiling absolutely to the bank on that one. Jensen will be finishing up second place overall and first in her class in the Pro-Ams, ahead of Julius Familiaris in third place overall. So Jensen taking the Pro-Am victory, also coming across the line second in throughout the race. Julian Familiaris running in third. Mahath Musa getting ahead of Luke Lucchesi right to the line. Van Rensburg fighting it out with Raymond Duggan on the back of him. Raymond's going to try make up the time, unfortunately too far back. We'll have to be quite happy with 7th place. 8th going to Christopher McDuff. Yuri MP Swart carrying the momentum through. Will look to try and keep ahead of Jason Coetzee, who finishes into that top 10. Willem Buerta getting ahead of Mandalozi Gauchai, who comes across the line, and first time Mandalozi gets a victory here in the world of RaceFace, and this time is in the AM. Well done. Jan Sparmers comes across the line, 13th position. Abdul Kasov comes across the line in 14th. 15th, Shivi Bassan, Yasin Ismail, Mark Heron, along with Noah Hendricks, Paul Nadir, and Dimitri Privadas, unfortunately pulling into the pits. He comes across the line in 20th position. Finally, Gravesy, 21st, Hilton Nixon, Etienne Swart, Werner Swart, Rafael de Souza, Robbie Teens, Yas Amai, Edwin Simpson, Gerald Ferree, and Paul Webber, Stephen Cakebread will be coming up to the line. Leon Vessels, though, going to go side by side with Herman Lazarus. Herman going and breathing fire out of the McLaren. Not able to get the drive just as yet on Vessels. Got on across all over the back of him, having to be defensive, and now have one of the Pandassi cars. There's the 412 trying to get past. Looking, and that is Brandon Roberts, who tries to get the drive on across. Just couldn't get it on across, going and pipping him at the line. Literally 0.13 of a second. Cabello Matsumae running a 36-37, Jeff Hancock's. And what a run through it all. So let's head to our results for our pros, as we wait for the official results to come through and give us a bit of an understanding of what's happening, how this is all turned around right here at the World of Spa. And honestly, some amazing work has been done. So we're just waiting for those official results to come through. As our live timing seems to be a little bit on the slower side here to try and get things up and going. Anytime live timing, we'd like to see a couple of results of our race. So back on to warm up. And let's take a look at our Heat 1. There we go. Daniel Demartros-Petro getting the win For our pros, Julian Familiaris in second place, Luke Lucchesi running in third, Raymond Duggan in fourth place, fifth, Christopher McDuff, Yuri Swart, seventh, Jason Kuti, Willem Buerta, Jans Bombers, and our top 10 of our pros going to Mark Heron. Moving a little bit further down, we have got Noah Hendricks, Werner Swart, Rafael de Souza, Yas Hamai, Edwin Simpson, Gerald Ferrari, Brandon Roberts, Cabello Matsmai, and Jeff Hancock running in 19th position. Moving in for our Pro-Am, it is Kathleen Jensen taking the win ahead of Mahath Musa in second place. John van Rensburg running in third. Abdul Haman Kasaf, Yasin Ismail, Paul Nadir, Fanny Gravesend, Hilton Nixon, Etienne Swart, and Robbie Teens into that top 10. 11, Stephen Cakebread, Dimitri Provadas, Leon Vessels, Herman Lazarus, Peter van der Spey, Ryan van Niekerk, Stefan Kutzer, Roland Ferreira, Greg van Niekerk, along with Doug Herber in that 20th position. 21st, Quinton Costa, Louis Nokia, Corey Price, and Paul Hurley running out our field. So, final one, looking at our AM class. For the results, it is Manalozi Gabashi coming in first place, Shavish Basson in second place, Paul Weber in third, along with Arno Kraus in fourth, Yuppie Simons, Duncan Roderick, Willem Pienaar, and Vainan Kursop rounding out in 8th place. So we're in for a bit of a treat here, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a bit of a warm-up. It's a 5-minute warm-up for our drivers to get themselves back into the mix for Heat 2 of our champion of Round 2 of our RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series right here at RaceFace. And it is an exciting one. Once again, a massive, massive welcome to you all right here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. My name is Stephen Koenig. And a big, big day in the world of RaceFace.Pro history. We have got some amazing, amazing teams out there. Got some amazing sponsors like SA Lube, Ondorf Machinery Mart, Simu Works Technology, along with Red Star Raceway and Scallywags going and being a part of the RaceFace family. Also taking a look over to the grandstand. Cameron de Bastos going and saying, how's it? From out there, Project Vapor saying Mahath Godsa on the way through. So that's always good to see. Johan van der Merwe saying some great racing here. It's always good to see some drivers going and being part of it, even though they are from a different realm of racing in the world of Acera Corsa Competizione. We do know that van der Merwe actually has dabbled in the world of iRacing once, twice, 3 times more. And nothing beats a Skippy. That I have to say flat out. Nothing beats a Skip Barber at the best of times. So, drivers getting themselves warmed up. We're going to have 5 minutes before we head down to the grid. Our top 5 will be reversed, and that is going to change things up for everyone on the way through. We do have our points heading into P2 though. I think that's something we need to bring up. As for Pro, Jason Kutsi will be on 129 points. Noah Hendricks on 121. Daniel Montrose Petro running in third place. Edwin Simpson goes down 1. Mark Heron goes down. Luke Lucchesi, Willem Buerta, Jans Bombers, Werner Swart, and Julian Familiaris in 10th. We've got Raymond Duggan, Luca Ludwig, along with Yaz Samai, Gerald Ferrari, Brandon Roberts, Paul Kerber, Cabello Matsumai, Christopher McDuff, Yuri Swart, and Jeff Hancock in 20th position. Taking a look at our Pro-Am standings. Leading into Heat 2, LB Doug Herber, Fanny Gravenstein, Etienne Swart, Abdul Kamaz, along with Robbie Teen, Stephen Cakebread, Peter van der Spey, Hilton Nixon, Roland Ferreira, and Dimitri into that top 10. And moving on to our AM, it would be, oh my heavens, Yuppie Simons, Vainan Kursop, Paul Weber, Arno Kraus going and also being in the mix there. As we allow our live timing trying to sort itself out, bring life a bit towards itself. So Yuppie Simons, Vainan Kursop, Paul Weber, along with Arno Kraus, Willem Pienaar, Duncan Roderick, Malozi Gebashi, and Chavis Brisson going and rounding out the field. So, lots to go on here. Who's going to be making their way forward? Luke Lucchese, Matthias Musa are going to go side by side. Track looks a lot drier now, so the driver's going to have to work out what's going to be their main game. As everyone gets themselves ready to go, Matthias Musa, Julian Familiaris, Kathleen Jensen running in 4th place, Daniel Petro, who had a dominating run. Let's see if he can do it all over again. But we'll have Luke Lucchese and the likes of Matthias Musa going to be putting in the fight as we get rolling for Heat 2. It is going to be a monumental charge right the way through. Matthias Musa is looking to try and get the jump on the rest of the field. Will he be able to get a bit of a move here? We're going to find out very, very shortly. I don't think it's going to be the easiest run for him, as they look to try and get themselves going. So Luke Lucchese, Matthias Musa side by side, Julian Familiaris, Jensen going to keep nice and close, as unfortunately it looks like Stephen Kankberg having a little bit of an argy-bargy moment a bit early on. A couple of cars starting in pit lane though that never made it, and I think that was Corey Price who wasn't able to make it to the line. Going to come around the final corner, once again down the hill and staring straight at the likes of Eau Rouge. Matthias Musa tucked a little bit too far back. He's going to have to get going. Luke Lucchese trying to get the field on a little bit quicker. Julian Familiaris tightening right up against that rear bumper as we go green, and they go screaming down towards Eau Rouge for the final time here tonight for round 2 of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 series. And Matthias Musa around the outside gets it stuck. Luke Lucchese getting ahead as he battles his way around. Then Julian Familiaris now tucking up behind him. Daniel Petro is going to give him a good shot as well. Luke Lucchese's got a poor drive. We have got contact in the rear. Unfortunately, quite a few cars getting caught out. Familiaris getting stuck out on the inside. Luke Lucchese making a bit of a rough run there. Daniel Petro, Jason could see going and making up a bit of ground. Jean van Rensburg, Kathleen Jensen, Christopher McDuff going side by side. Urian Piswat tries to put his nose in on the inside, as it looks like Jensen is now losing out that little bit of drive. But out in front, Matthias Musa took the opportunity both in hand and got going ahead of Luke Lucchese, leaving him to deal with Julian Familiaris as it stands on the way through. So everyone looking to try and step it up and get that little bit more momentum on the way through. Familiaris trying his luck, looking left, looking right, seeing how it's all going to work. 2 heats in this race, so you've got to be so careful what you have done in heat 1. As we got a sideways action, that looks to be Van Rensburg who lost out the drive. So Van Rensburg loses out the drive, drops in the field. Christopher McDuff says thank you very much. Urian Piswat getting the pass on the likes of Jensen. Raymond Duggan gets it all stuck in. Willem Buerta, Abdul, Jans Farmers, and then Van Rensburg is able to get himself going. Mandalozzi tries to keep himself going, currently leading his class. Yasin Ismail running in second, well, running 5th in class, trying to come back at him. Mandalozzi giving the gap. Mark Herron trying to chase him down. Fonny Gravenstein battling it out, as everyone's sticking so close to one another off the start of the bat. It is turning into a monumental effort. Taking a look at, there was a question asked by our up by our virtual grandstands. Abdul Hamad Kasov had to serve a qualifying ban due to the amount of incidents that happened, that our stewards went to get a qualifying ban that need to be served, and unfortunately that's We had to start a little bit further down the order than planned. So that's how it all ended up to be. Jason could see getting the jump ahead. Yuri MP Swart as Daniel Macho Petro got it sideways, falls off the circuit. He is down into 7th place. Willem Boertig now going to be closing up on the back of him. And Abdul Kasab trying to make up a bit of time. Has got Christopher McDuff all over the back of him, trying to figure out where's going to be the pass. The asymmetric racing Christopher McDuff. Let's go and fighting his way through. So hopefully, Berbanov manager, that gives you a bit of an answer. He was serving a qualifying ban after incidents ruled in heat, well, in round 1, which was 2 weeks ago. And that went to our stewards. Luke Kekesi running in a third, running in 2nd place along with Julian Familiaris, but we do see a bit of contact. Hilton Nixon, unfortunately, getting out of shape as we see him side by side with Abdul. Abdul comes across. Oh, side-on contact between the two of them. Abdul just swinging it in on the inside, saying, I'm turning right. Good luck to anyone next to me. Well, that unfortunately not going to help out Hilton Nixon and himself as they drop down the order. Maith Musa keeping up the chase. Luke Kekesi looking to try and put enough pressure on him. Luke Kekesi with a wealth of wisdom in the world of racing and in sim racing. Actually I've got to just point out, for anyone that doesn't know Luke Kekesi, he does run a series called the Masters Series and has been coaching a lot of drivers on how to conduct themselves in the world of sim racing. So big shout out to him, big shout out to the Master Series that also runs. Luke Kekesi going and battling out with Maith Musa, who comes from the world of Assetto Corsa Competizione, part of our Assetto Corsa Competizione, our RaceFace GT3 series, and both the old GT3 Sprint series that was running, our Thursday nights that are running, and also representing South Africa in the SimGrid.Pro, the SimGrid qualifier for the SRO Esports, which is running this Thursday as well. Luke Kekesi running in 2nd place. Julian Familiaris, youngster from the world of IRL Motorsport, done incredibly well in sim racing. Now looks to try and carry the momentum forward. So Julian is hoping that he can keep up the pace. Then you've got Jason Kutsi fighting it out. Also, wealth of knowledge from the world of sim racing and real racing, up against Yuri MP Swart, who comes from the world of real racing. His dad, an absolute petrol head that sits down and watches the sim racing with him, cheering on Yuri MP Swart, who honestly is one of the very few drivers that I've seen who's able to get a VW Super Cup car out and fighting against 2 GT4 Audi R8. So yeah, good on him. And it was also Cara Hill was fighting him out as well, the 2 GT4 Audi R8. So Cara Hill, one to keep an eye out for. Yuri MP Swart, another one to keep an eye out for. Daniel Demarchos Petro, coming from the world of Assetto Corsa Competizione, has done a phenomenal job on his transition over to iRacing. This time it looks like pressure got to him, and now he is fighting out with Willem Boertig. Wealth of knowledge from the world of IRL Motorsport, knows how to put enough pressure in and also cope with pressure as he handles his way through, keeps it consistent and can battle it out. I know going door to door with Willem Boertig, he will lean on you, he'll give you the room, but will ensure that if you're going to earn a position, you need to earn it fairly. Christopher McDuff trying to chase him down. The Asymmetric Racing have been doing frantic work behind the scenes to ensure that they can get these cars all dialed in and make them absolutely pivotal to get to the front of the run. So it's good to see a variety of different esports teams from around the globe coming and participating, but we're going to see some of the best here. Luke Kekesi, though, going to keep the pressure on Maith Musa, trying to give him a little bit of taste of what Project Vapor can do. Luke Kekesi of RDSA Esports and Pantera Racing keep ahead of Julian Familiaris of Durant Motorsports as they go and fight their way on the battle. So Confused Scenery going and saying, yes, and Ismail, this gentleman over here, we're here cheering you on. So Confused Scenery out in the grandstands, cheering on this little car running in 9th. So there you go. Got to give a little bit of, what was it? It's always not fan favorite. It's when you go and give back to the fans. I forgot the name of it. In the world of anime, they talk about a lot. It escapes my mind. We'll bring back, I'm sure someone's going to correct me there and say, what are you doing? This is what the word is. Well, this is what the words are that you're trying to apply, that your brain just absolutely has turned off because you're watching amazing action right here for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series here on iRacing, as our leaders now starting to catch the back of the pack, as Louis Nokia, Roland Ferrer, Dimitri Privadas, Yaz Samai, Rafael de Souza, Yuppie Summons, Peter van der Spey, Quincy Costa, Arno Kraus, Hilton Nixon, Edwin Simpson are all going to run into, as they got our leaders. They're going to be battling it out. Luke Lucchesi looks for the inside line, can't get the drive just as yet, backs back into the toe. Mike Musa keeping a firm stance with that big BMW, battling his way through. Good to see that the BMW still can hold its own to an extent, but the Porsche with its rotation that's able to bite back and get going once again. So let's keep an eye out on where it's all going to end, as he doesn't carry the same drive. Luke Lucchesi immediately onto the back of him, trying to force a mistake out of Mike Musa. Looks to utilize the toe, closing down little by little. Can they get it all done and dusted? Tries to go around the outside. It's going to try look for a bit of positive inside. Couldn't get that one done as they make their way through. So as it stands, Mahath Musa leading his class, wanting to win overall, is putting that fight in with Luke Lucchesi and Julian Familiaris of having a good go at one another. Drivers I do want to talk about though, Mundalozi Gelashai, who's keeping ahead of Nur Hendricks, who's clawed his way up. He has got Willem Buerta right onto the back of him. Buerta trying to carry a bit of momentum. Chavish Basson dealing with Mark Heron, and Mark trying to make it up, as we do get yellow flags for Willem Buerta. We were just complimenting him. And what happened to Willem Buerta on the way through? Late on the brakes, tries to get it all stuck in. Oh, just losing the rear out. And unfortunately, that is all she wrote for the little car. Having to pull it back. Back to our live broadcast at the moment, as our leaders carving their way through, trying to make up for the time. Luke Lucchesi waiting for his opportunity at this point. Julian Familiaris onto the back of him, dropping a wheel on the dirt. Not going to be too comfortable there. Yurian Biswat trying to close up the gap as well after having a fight with Jason Coetzee for a bit of time. He manages just to do it under braking into the bus stop. Made up a serious amount of time through the bus stop. So it is BMW, Porsche, Lambo and Chevrolet going and rounding out our top four, and all of them are doing an absolutely monumental run. Cameron Nell jumping into the world of our virtual grandstand, saying, how's the race been? Well, it's been exciting, because considering first, second and third have been clawing at each other, now we've just included fourth place into the mix. Mahath Musa, who's leading overall, is first in Pro-Am, leading Luke Lucchesi, who is first in Pro, with second of Pro, Julian Familiaris on his tail, and Yurian Biswat now right in there. This has turned into a monumental fight for them. Jason Coetzee is also seeing that they're getting held up. Daniel Martins Petro, he is trying to make up the time. He won Heat 1. Now looks like Heat 2 a little bit different. Christopher McDuff a little bit further down. Yassine Esmail, currently running second in class, is trying to carve his way through one of our McLarens. Gotta say, still loving McLaren. Herman Lazarus driving the MP4-12C. Good to see it out there. Gotta give it some love. And one driver I did not expect to be at the top, and honestly, I'm glad to see it. A new name to the world of RaceFace.Pro, and that is Mundalozi Gabashi, who has put himself into 9th position, first in class. He's ahead of Noah Hendricks, and second of our AM class is Chavish Basson, who is trying to make his way through to close up on Mundalozi. So it's always good to see these drivers starting to develop moving their way through, trying to figure out what's going to be the ideal situations on the way through. Mahath Musa keeping ahead of Luke Lucchesi, who's now been bottled up a bit of time. Has got Julian Familiaris and Urian P. Swart. Now let's see how the communication is going to work here. They're going to work together to try and get past Mahath Musa. They're going to get a little bit elbows out as they carve their way through. Considering we've got new sponsors jumping on board, we've got old sponsors that are extremely excited to be here, such as Ondorf Machinery Mart, SA Lube, and Simu Works Technologies being part of it. Our new sponsors being Red Star Raceway. Yes, you heard me right. Red Star Raceway, the track, sponsoring the series, and Scallywags, who are going and putting in monumental effort. If you don't know Scallywags, well, they go and teach you how to drift. They teach you how to get it sorted, and absolutely fantastic while doing it. Paul Webber, though, getting overtaken by our leaders, and it does look like we're going to have plenty more of it as he gets stuck on the outside. So not having an easy time out there. Urian P. Swart tries to carve his way through. Luke Lucchesi has pulled into the pit, so he's trying to go and do a little bit of an undercut at this point. Jason could see going and trying to get past one of our back rockers, managing to do so, keeping very close to Urian P. Swart. Another little fight that is starting to build up, though, is Duncan Roderick having a good go with Cassin Jensen a little bit further down. They are fighting in 27th, 28th position. Duncan getting the great drive out of corner now through likes of Blanchemont, fighting his way through. Catherine trying to figure out what can be done. How can the momentum be changed at this point? Pit stops was a bit of a change you got here, but Duncan Roderick for Team Tryhard Racing backs off, lets him go, lets Kathleen go, says, listen, you're on your way, you're in a different class to this. I am focusing on getting in the pits and ensuring that I'm going to maintain my run. So pit stops all going to be the changing factor here. Mahath Musa, Julian Familiaris battling it out. Familiaris currently leading our pro class with Mahath Musa just within reach as it stands. Going to put in a little bit of pressure. Now Julian Familiaris knows how to put the nose of that Lamborghini in the right place at the right time. Mahath Musa, who has come from the world of Assetto Corsa Competizione, has driven the BMW many times before and has done plenty of laps here at Spa, doesn't quite know what he's getting into with the fight with Julian Familiaris, but he is going to keep his elbows out here, saying, I did not go and stand at the top of championships in the world of ACC by going and rolling over and letting some top names get past me. I'm going to put in the fight and ensure that you have to work out. Go ask Daniel Rowe how I know how to go and put an elbow out. Julian Familiaris, though, trying to go for a little bit of a switch around, late braking, unfortunately not coming into play there. And Jason could see, as we see Urian P. Swartz pulled into the pits, that is going to promote Daniel Demarcho's Petro up. Yazid Ismail jumps up as well. Manolodi Gabashar gets himself into 6th place. Sorry, 7th place. 6th. As Urian P. Swartz in the pit. Noah Hendricks will be gaining a bit of time. Shavish Basson now starting to get a little bit closer. Mark Herring also into the mix of things. Jan Sparmers getting a bit of a pass. Willem Buerta into 11th position. Urian P. Swart down into 12th with those side by side, well, with being pulled into the pits. But is the undercut going to be powerful enough to catch up to Mahath Musa and Julian Familiaris at the moment? Both going and pushing himself. Julian Familiaris on the last lap, though, did his fastest lap time of the race, 2:18.63, where Mahath Musa actually was slower. He did a 2:19.14. So Mahath Musa, not the fastest through the corners, is going to have to keep things a little bit more together and deal with Julian Familiaris looking left and right, trying to figure out how can he get by. What's going to be the opportune moment here? Where can I put pressure just on the right spot to get you to turn in? And look at me as we jump on board with the Lamborghini. Looks for the inside line, couldn't get the pass done, backs out of it. Going to try and figure out where is going to be the next passing opportunity, taking it right up the revs. On the way through, Blanche wants to come 5th, heading into 6th gear. right on the rev range. Very late, feathering the throttle, waiting for an opportunity here. Not keeping it firmly planted, just giving it a slight lift, trying to keep as much pressure onto that rear. The Lambo behind Musa comes in. Oh, scratches the wall on the way through. Jason could see going to follow him through. So it is Julian Familiaris up into the tops as we do see Jeff Hancock's going and fighting his way around. He's in the Mustang just ahead of him. He's onto the back of Robbie Teens. That is fighting his way through. So Jeff Hancock and Robbie Teens are having a good go at one another. Will be keep an eye. Julian Familiaris will be coming to close up on the back of them. Jeff just not able to carry the same momentum that he wanted. So, through the running order though, Yasina Ismail into the pits, Manalozi, Noah Hendricks, Shivi Basson, Savish Basson, Mark Heron, along with Jens Balmers, Willem Buerta, Stephen Cakebread, Corey Price is into the pits, Fanny Gravenstein into the pits, Ryan van Veek is into the pits, will Luke Lucchese come into the pits as we do see yellow flags for Jeff Hancock's. What happened to Jeff Hancock's? Did he get caught out under braking with the Mustang? Laid on the brakes, side by side, over the curbs, slight contact, and turned around. Ooh, second contact coming in there, and that will be not a very entertained Mustang. So, Luke Lucchese going to be cycling his way through, trying to move up through the order, and he is pulling Yuri on P-Swat at the moment. Jason could see, who has not done that pit stop, is continuing to, well, he has done his pit stop, he's just left, and Yuri P-Swat and Luke Lucchese getting past him. Jason could see down the order, Mahath Musa down the order, Daniel Demetrios Petro coming out of the pits. We'll have Christopher McDuff getting past him very, very quickly. Yasin going to try and make up bird time. Daniel Demetrios Petro just could not deal with Christopher McDuff on the way through. Noah Hendricks comes out of the pits, Manalozi, Willem Buerta, Mark Heron, and Shivish Busan, along with Jan Sparmers onto the back of him, Kathy Jensen and John van Rensburg. They now trying to carve their way through and make up a bit of time as they close up into the fight. Jensen right into the back of Jan Sparmers. They have not done battle once before. Jan Sparmers, though, knows how to keep it all together. Two spanners, Jan Sparmers. And for anyone that doesn't know Jan Sparmers' racing background, he actually comes from the world of IRL motorsport. Used to race in the VW Challenge, it was VW Challenge. As we saw Luke Lucchese going and spinning the rear out. So who was that? Luke Lucchese that lost out? No, that was Willem Buerta that lost out the drive. And Willem Buerta now down the order. So a little bit further than planned. So let's see what happened to Van Kersop. He landed up with a bit of a problem. I think the tail just stepping out underneath him. Yep. And that was all she wrote. Not enough pressure on the back. Willem Buerta, what happened to him on the way through? I think same type of problem. Just the rear going and snapping out. And unfortunately, oh, that's all she wrote to that one. Able to bring it back, but losing out some valuable positions. Christopher McDuff going side by side with Daniel Demetrios Petro. They're walking each other through. Daniel going to keep enough pressure. Christopher McDuff, though, how's this one? Daniel tried forcing a bit of a move of Christopher to come off the gas, but Christopher, not backing down from the fight, continued to drive and get back onto the racing line. He said, listen, you're either going to follow me or we're going to go and share a bit of paint here. And Daniel Demetrios Petro saying, right, I relinquish that. I'm going to move out of your way. Don't want to have the contact. Going to get the drive up through Eau Rouge, down through Radion, on the way through. Will he be able to continue the drive? As we see Vanna Kursop driving with no nose. Christopher McDuff going to take that inside line, force Daniel Demetrios Petro around the outside. He's going to have the advantage on the cutback just over the curb. Couldn't get it all done. Christopher McDuff making that Ferrari very, very wide as it stands. Luke Lucchese, Yuri P-Swat, they battling out for position and running nose to tail between one another on the way through. So, with time starting to run out, Luke Lucchese is fighting not only for overall position, but for class position as it stands. Maeth Musa running first in his class in the Pro-Am, trying to make a double header. And we also got the likes of Mandalozzi, who is running for a double win in the AM class if he can keep it all together. So there is little races all over the track, ladies and gentlemen. The drivers are trying to make their way through, get themselves out a little bit more, and see who will be able to claw their way to victory as it stands. We do have little fights breaking on the way through, like Daniel Demartros-Petro and Christopher McDuff, Luke Lucchese, Yuri Swart. But then we go down. Jan Sparmers, Jean van Rensburg, Shivish Besson, and Willem Buerta all over the back of one another. Buerta looks at the outside, can't get around the outside of Besson. Kathleen Jensen immediately getting right behind, trying to figure out how can she get past these two that are fighting out. Buerta goes to look around the outside. Shivish Besson, also coming from the world of IRL Motorsports, has done his time in a bit of front wheel drive action in the VW. Polo has made his way around. He's trying to keep it all together and hopes to stand for a bit of a run. Goes very, very defensive, holding a very good line on the way through. So always fantastic to see drivers going and making their way through. Shivish going and pulling into the pits. Kathy Jensen into the pits. Abdul's into the pits as well. That's going to allow Stephen Cakebread to gain a position. Fanny Gravestein, Leon Vessels, Ryan van Wyk is also going to be gaining a bit of time here, as he's got Corey Price immediately onto the back of him. So Corey Price is going to keep the pressure on to the back of Van Wyk, and I can personally say Ryan van Wyk has been a bit of a difficult one to get by. Can get very defensive when he wants to, and knows how to put that car just in the right place. So Jason Coetzee now trying to close up to Luke Lucchese and Yuri Swart as they fight it out. John van Rensburg going and giving Jan Sparmers a run for his money. Jan, he gets it out, and Jan into the wall. Van Rensburg nowhere to go, and just has, unfortunately, Jan Sparmers returning to the world of racing after his move, going and landing up in the wall. John van Rensburg saying, much like in the world of oval racing, if there ain't any room, I've got to just keep my foot in and hope that things keep going. Corey Price and Van Wyk battling it out, but out in front to the top of the charts, it is Yuri Swart, who is currently leading out the pros, with Luke Lucchese trying to close up the gap. Youngster versus the older generation. Luke Lucchese going to say, listen, you've got a little bit more to learn here, Yuri. I'm going to keep the pressure on you. You're going to have to try and figure out another way around this. They're going to have to get caught up behind one of our back markers. That is the number 26, Merck. That is running a little bit further down the order. And we'll get the blue flags as Stephen Kutzer, who is getting the blue flags at this moment. So Stephen Kutzer going and saying, listen, I need to figure out my opportunity here. Comes off power, allows Yuri Swart and Luke Lucchese to get by him. Very, very cleverly done towards Radeon. You go and hold your line, which you want to be on towards the pit wall, and you don't want to be off that line. So you're going to go and lift a little bit, let the guys go, carry the momentum up the hill without getting too much into a bit of a problem. So always fantastic to see a little bit of further thinking, a little bit of more insight to the world of driving and how the drivers are looking to improve and step up their game each and every time they get back out onto the track. It's always fantastic to see it. Jason Coetzee running in third place. Mahath Musa leading out his class as it stands, with Yasin Ismail running in second of our pros, our Pro-Am. So Yasin Ismail's got a lot to climb. He's got to get past Christopher McDuff and Daniel Demartros-Petro before he could even think of getting to Mahath Musa for that class shot. Mahath Musa and Daniel Demartros-Petro, both coming from the world of ACC, both know each other from the world of ACC, both have challenged for the championship running, but it does look like Mahath Musa is carrying a bit of damage on the rear of his BMW. So he has got some, he is missing the boot of that BMW. So he has had a bit of contact with the rear. Either the wall has gone and bit him, or another car has slammed into that rear. At the moment, he has got a drag, well, he has got a weight reduction system, and that is an entire boot lid missing, and now just going and playing irritation to Daniel Petro onto the back of him, as Daniel's going to have the drive, will be able to make his way through, as we see Werner Swart, yellow flags coming up for him. Through Blanchemont. Oh, just the tail snaps out on the curbing. He's able to bring it back. The Altered Carbon Racing just stopping dead and taking a bit of a deep breath there. Moment to just gather himself on the way through. Daniel Petro, Mahaith Musa, always fantastic to see these two go and battle it out. And this time out on iRacing, Mahaith Musa going and keeping it all together, saying, not this time. You're not going to get past me. We're going to keep this fight, and we're going to keep going. But that does hold him up a little bit, and you can see it immediately as the number 49 that is running. That is Paul Webber. Now, bear in mind, Paul Webber is running 36th overall. He is getting blue flagged by Christopher McDuff, and he's trying to hold his line. He's trying to keep his pace, but is getting bottled up behind the likes of Daniel Petro and Mahaith Musa, who are having a good run at one another, seeing, all right, what's going to be the options here? How am I going to get past? Do I lift? Do I let the guys go and compromise my time? Two drivers that we haven't spoken about is Quinton Costa going after Shavish Basson. Now, they are not fighting for class position, but it is good to see Quinton Costa, who, for anyone that doesn't know, if you go to Red Star Raceway, he is generally the man that goes and drives around on the golf cart. He is going and keeping things busy along with his wife, Mrs. Kutzer, and we've also got his young son that is going and watching. So keep an eye out for Quinton Kutzer and the entire Kutzer family. They are supporting, they're cheering on and getting right behind Shavish Basson, who is in a monumental battle at the moment. Shavish, coming from the world of VW racing, knows how to do it with a front wheel drive. This time rear wheels GT3 a little bit different, but is applying the same skills necessary to keep going. So you can see how those two closed up on one another and are keeping the race together. So back up through the charts though, as we run into overtime as it stands. Urian P. Swart, Luke Lekezi, and Jason Coetzee fighting it out. Bus stop to go, and Urian P. Swart, currently leading, will be taking the checkered flag ahead of Luke Lekezi. Urian P. Swart gets first place for Heat 2, and Luke Lekezi getting second place for Heat 2. Jason Coetzee rounding out in third place. Mahaith Musa, though, will be taking an absolute run as he's trying to keep it all together. Can he carry the momentum through? Will get the Pro-Am victory. Just needs to cross the line and does so. So Mahaith Musa gets the Pro-Am victory, making a double win for him. Christopher McDuff finishing up in 5th place. 6th, Daniel Petro. Yasin Ismail taking 2nd place in the Pro-Am, 7th overall. Noah Hendricks comes across in 8th. And double head win for our AM class. Mandalozzi getting that win. He finishes in 9th place. Mark Heron into that top 10. Jean van Rensburg comes across the line. Jan Sparmers, Fani Gravenseed, Leon Vessels, Stephen Craigbrett, Corey Price comes across the line. Ryan van Veek, Etienne Swart, Paul Nadir, Peter van der Spey will be coming across the line in 20th, followed by Hilton Nixon, Shavish Basson carrying a bit of momentum through. I believe he's done enough to keep ahead of Quinton. Yippee Simons will be coming in 24th position. Kathleen Edson finishing in 25th. 26th, Brandon Roberts. Abdul Haman Kasav comes across in 27th. 28th, going to Doe Herber and Duncan Roderick. Raymond Duggan, Greg van Niekerk has done enough. He finishes in 31st. Stephen Kutzer, Willem Buerta, and Robbie Teens. Werner Swart will be coming across the line. He's going to be quite happy with that. Paul Webber, Herman Lazarus, Willem Pinar, Arnold Kraus finishing in 39th position. Jeff Hancock's, Julian Familiaris, Gerald Ferree. So Julian Familiaris way down the order there. Gerald Ferry in 42nd, Veynon Kursop, Cabela Matamai, Edward Simpson, Rafael de Souza, Semi, Dimitri Privadas, Roland Ferrer, and Louis Nokia rounding out our field here tonight. Big shout out to the drivers going and trying to make their way to the pits, the way that things should, without any contact. Always glad to see drivers getting it all together there. And, well, big shout out from my side as Christopher McDuff getting a little bit of a love tap from Uriel Peacewell saying, "Here we go, buddy. Well done. Nothing too massive on that one." So, we will be bringing in our winners for the race. Our first, second, and third of each class. Hopefully we can have a bit of a chat to the drivers as we look to go to our results of our feature race, which would be our Heat 2. So, to our results. Here's to our pro class as they make their way through. Urian Pissoir takes the top spot. Luke Lucchesi, Jason Couture, Christopher McDuff, Daniel Lamatro Petro in 5th, 6th, Noah Hendricks, Mark Heron, Jans Balmers, Brandon Roberts, and Raymond Duggan into 10th. Moving down the order though, we have got Willem Buerta, Werner Swart, Jeff Hancock, Joe Ferree, Julian Familiaris, Cabela Matamai in 16, 17, Edward Simpson, Rafael de Souza, and Yaz Hamai rounding out in to the top 19, well, into 19th position of our pro class. Moving on to our pro-am though, it is Mahath Musa, Yasin Ismail, Jean van Rensburg, Fanny Gravesien, Leon Vessel, Stephen Cakebread, Corey Price, Ryan van Niekerk, Etienne Swart, Paul Nadir in 10th position. Then we have got Peter van der Spey, Hilton Nixon, Quinton Kutzer, along with Kathleen Jensen, Abdul Hamad Kasov, Doug Herber, Greg van Niekerk, Steven Kutzer, along with Robbie Teens and Herman Lazarus in 20th. Dimitri Pravadas in 21st, 22nd. Roland Ferrer and Louis Nokia running out in 23rd. Moving on to our AM class. It is Mandalozi Gabashi taking the win. Chevis Basson in 2nd place. Yuppie Summons in 3rd. Duncan Roderick, Paul Weber, Willem Pina, Honor Cross, and Vainant Kursop rounding out our AM class. So, going to be bringing in a couple of drivers to have a chat with us. And I always love going and having a chat to the many drivers. And one of them going to be the one and only Luke Lucchesi. Luke Lucchesi, welcome to the commentary box. Luke Lucchesi, welcome to the commentary box. Glad to have you here. And what a race out there. You've had a monumental battle up and down through the race. Take us through the race for you. How did it feel? And, well, having to battle it out front to back.
Yeah, look, race 1, we didn't really know what tires to use. So I opted for wets because that's what we needed in quali. But it turned out that the dry tire was the one to be on. I mean, I got mugged right at the start from Daniel because he was on dries. We just couldn't compete. And then my weight started overheating sort of by lap 2-3.
Well, I mean, these conditions where it becomes a bit more challenging, a lot of drivers tend to say they don't prefer it. Others say they love it. The variable conditions, you've got years and years of experience in both sim and also in IRL motorsports. Do you think the variance condition is a nice addition to have into the world of sim racing, like what we have in iRacing? Or do you think it's something that is just a spanner in the works and something to be forgotten about?
I think it's a bit of both. See, the track looked dry, but it wasn't, because you could get the tail sprays from behind the car. So you would assume that it would be wet. In real life, conditions like that, you wouldn't be out on slicks, you'd be on wets. So yeah, I suppose it was just a gamble that the guys took on dries, and it ended up paying off. I mean, it could equally have gone the other way. I don't think it was something that you could actually prepare yourself for. I mean, probably could have tweaked the setup, to be better on the wets in sort of drying conditions. But yeah, you don't really have time to do that. So yeah, race 2 was much more sort of standard. But yeah, the issue that the Porsche has here is it's got no top end compared to the other cars. So you end up being a sitting duck down the straight. So that's why I opted to pit early, because I could see that I was quicker than Muaf, but I couldn't make the overtake because you can only really overtake it down the straights. So I opted to pit early, get into some clean air and see if I could make the overtake that way, and it ended up being the right move.
Yeah, and Urium Swat getting you right at the end. I'm sure that was also a bit of a frustrating moment with the Chevrolet just having that slight bit of top end to keep it going and able to try and battle it out. But, I mean, taking a look at the championship points, it's going to be a bit more of a smiling, as you've gained some valuable points throughout the race. You up to 95 points. You got Mark Heron, who's on 96, so 1 point ahead of you. Is it starting to look a bit better in your favor? You now starting to get that climb once again after having a little bit of a rough race in round 1 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, look, I think Imola is going to be better for the Porsche. It just suits the track better. I mean, the move with Umpi, I wasn't going to keep him behind me, not with the top end he had. So it was more like a tactical move. That's why I didn't defend it. The idea was to just get in his toe so I could be protected from Jason and actually just be towed along. And ended up working, because as soon as I got behind him, then we started pulling away from Jason, who's, I think, leading the championship at the moment. You didn't do the first race, so from a points perspective, you can give away a win if you finish in front of Jason.
Fair enough. That's hindsight 2020, that long-term effect coming into play. Both Noah Hendricks, Edward Simpson also not having the best of their races. So you've gained those valuable points. You're making yourself a bit more up towards the sharp end of the field. But getting to battle it out with Mohamed Musa, I mean, this is the first time you two have really gone toe-to-toe with one another. For a youngster coming from the world of Assetto Corsa Competizione, not too familiar with the world of iRacing, you a lot more experience. Could you see where he was a little bit more aggressive in the braking? Was there little moments where you could say you're not quite comfortable there? Or was there a bit of, okay, he's carried something over?
I think it's the BM. So the BM is very quick here because it's got a lot of top end. Like, you can't pass the BM down the straight. So it's not as strong in the turns, but you can't overtake in the turns. So if you've got a car that's strong down the straight, as long as you can get up front early on, which is what he did on lap 1, because I just didn't have an answer for him down the straight, then you pretty much stay there. Even though I could probably go maybe 6/10 quicker a lap, I can't do it when I'm behind him, because I have to match his speed in the turns, and then down the straight you just end up sitting in the toe. So putting early was the only option. At that point, everybody else behind us was starting to catch. So it was either, take the gamble, get into the pits, try and get into some clean air, or just wait until everybody catches up, and then sort of the effect is net zero. So, look, I think it paid off in the end, because I did come out in the lead. If the Porsche just had that little bit more top end. The thing with the Porsche is it's got quite a loose rear end, so you can't take too much wing off to try and get the speed down the straight, because then you die in the turns. So, it's, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
Now back to So it's back to the RDSA Pantera Racing Factory, get it all tweaked up. We did touch on to it for anyone out there. Luke Lucchesi is one of the managing members of the Master Series that runs. Luke, quick one, if you would like to let anyone know who wants to go and race in the Masters to compete, little open spot for you.
Yeah, look, if anybody wants to, our league is for over 35, so anybody that wants to come have a jowl with the older guys, my number's on the group, just send me a message and we'll see if we can get you in there.
Luke, before I let you go, anything you'd like to say to all the petrol heads, to the sponsors, and all our absolute amazing fans watching us out day in and day out? Any last words from your side? You're allowed to go and throw a little bit of shade. I mean, last time we did have the little bit from Jason Kutsi and Yuri going and leaning in, saying a bit of the old age catching up to you in the F4s, and you're proving them otherwise here in the GT3s.
Yeah, look, I think the younger guys do have a slight edge, but yeah, we keep working. Yeah, I'm not going to let that stop me. But yeah, no, look, a big thanks to the sponsors. You know, without them, it wouldn't make the series what it is. You know, shout out to all the guys watching. You know, time to build a rig and get into it. You know, it gives you that feeling like you actually behind the wheel in a real race, real competitive. So, you know, get yourself a setup and come have a jaw.
Oh, thank you very much, Luke Lucchesi of RDSA and Pantera Racing. Always an honor to chat to you, and look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time as we head out to Imola. And as you said, hopefully a bit more better for the Porsche.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
Always glad to have a chat there. We're going to have a chat to Peter van der Say. Looks like he is out, so let's bring in Jean van Rensburg. Mr. van Rensburg, welcome to the commentary box. I pulled you up right at the last minute. But what a Heat 2 for you. Third in class. You've been battling it out night and day. Had to really work your way through. The tail not going and playing ball with you, though. How are you feeling after round 2 here at Spa for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series here on iRacing?
DB, first off, how are you doing, man?
Good, and you? Long time no chat, but you always drive in a circle, and I got a right hand and left hand coins.
Yeah, my bad, hey. As you could see on the first lap, I clearly forgot how to turn the other way, and I made a slight mistake. But it was a fun race. Definitely more challenging, I'd say, than the wet race, with everybody being on top of each other. But not the result we wanted, but I'd definitely say that was a fun race.
Well, you know, let's take it through there. You had moments where, for slowpoke racing, you had to really dig deep. You got amongst a lot of the pro drivers that were holding you up a little bit in some areas. Others, you seem to not have the pace. Was the Ferrari just a bit unstable in Heat 1 with the varying conditions? And Heat 2 seemed like it was a little bit better, but still had that odd snap every so often.
Yeah, listen, at Spa you have to make sure you got a fair amount of straight line speed. Not as much as Daytona or Monza, but you still need straight line speed. And we definitely compromised our wet weather handling and obviously our pack racing by going for a straight line setup. But yeah, I'd say it's down to driver error, and I should have spent more time practicing. In the end, it's a good result. It's down to driver error that put me in certain situations where I definitely shouldn't have been behind certain drivers. But, you know, it's hindsight and it's motorsport. It's all about the what-ifs.
Well, you know what? Absolutely tremendous stuff. And it's always fantastic to go and see you out on track, seeing you going door to door, having the honor to actually go and race against you, even though you left me in the dust. I don't know how many times. But
Anyone say?
a little bit more than that. Transitioning from the world of Assetto Corsa Competizione to iRacing, you know, is there a lot of characteristics that you are carrying from the world of GT3 racing, from Assetto Corsa Competizione to iRacing, that's making it easier? Or do you feel that it's just an entirely new ball game, start with a new book?
Honestly speaking, I'm surprised you're allowed to use such vulgar language on the stream. So after, I'd actually say during COVID, I started doing some racing, and old mate got me back into the racing seats. And it's, as with a lot of people, you start off with a Logitech steering and you start off an ACC and also normal AC. But once you really get to grips with iRacing, nothing really compares. And sure, it's not perfect, but I'd say you can't jump between the two sims. And there's drivers that do that. I for one, cannot. But it's definitely a clean slate. And I've had to relearn a lot of things, but now I'm enjoying it so much. There's no reason to go back to anything else.
Yeah, it's always one of those, you just want to keep going and keep moving forward. Well, before we let you go, we did touch on to, you've come from the world of oval racing, namely into dirt oval as well. A lot of those fundamentals, do you think carry over into the world of sim, or do you think it's not really something that can be carried over considering the different realms that you're in?
Listen, I must say, the patience I've learned specifically in GT3 racing, even going back to the ACC days, that's definitely helped me in the oval track the racing. That's definitely helped me a lot. Also, the fact that I do a lot of the work on, well, actually all the work on the oval track I do myself. That's helped me set up or be able to build setups for sim racing. When it comes to the wet weather driving, and even recently trying a bit of rallycross, the RL low grip racing, shall we call it, because the track's obviously wet between races, that definitely helped me in my sim racing. So Heat 1, I was definitely out of place. I should not be battling some of these guys. And my real life experience definitely helped in that.
Absolutely tremendous stuff. Well, before we let you go and before we leave you to celebrate your third place in Heat 2 with all the friends and family, is there anything you'd like to say to all our spectators, our petrol heads, and our sponsors jumping on board, seeing the amazing racing out on it? And you're allowed to add a little bit of spice as long as you keep it PG-13, no bad language. But you are allowed to add a bit of spice to those watching now, in the future, or those that are way into the future, just transitioning over. I know you got a couple of friends in Monday Night Racing that have been giving you a few gears.
Listen, I think the biggest haters of iRacing is definitely those closest to us. And yeah, definitely Monday Night Racing, that's been a big part of my sim racing life in the last 4 years. And I think people should try iRacing before bashing it. And I still bash it myself. But get in the seat, try it out, do some laps, don't give up, and put in the effort. If you want to just go and have fun, then iRacing isn't the sim for you. But if you really want to push yourself to the limit, do your first 24-hour with a guy by the name of Matt Denson and 2-man it just because you can. That's the way you get into sim racing and really prove to yourself how stupid you can be.
Or just be an Eddie Francis.
Yeah, well, he's definitely tried us a lot, eh?
All right, Mr. van Rensburg, thank you very much for joining us here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time, heading towards Imola.
All right, Steve, keep on, man. Ciao, ciao.
Cheers. Absolutely tremendous. Well, final interview of the night is someone very new to the commentary box. Abdul, welcome to the commentary box right here at RaceFace.Pro. Fantastic to have you. First time that we've ever had you in the commentary box. How are you feeling? Not the most exciting race in Heat 1 and Heat 2, but you managed to pull it back. You managed to keep the drive going. How are you feeling after all the racing, the Porsche eventually starting to get grip towards the end?
Well, at the beginning of the race one, it was very tough because a lot of guys trying to hold their position, trying to not crash away, and etc., etc., etc. But I managed to push as hard as I can, and even with the stop and go with the 26 seconds, I pushed till 14 positions. So I think the first race was pretty good for me, but the second one was tougher just because of the crash after the Puyon.
With a large field, do you feel that the racing itself, getting into those fights, becomes a little bit more tricky, and being able to contend with all these different skill levels, getting to contend with all these drivers that you're not very familiar with, makes things a little bit harder? Do you find that challenge more exciting to deal with?
Yeah, for sure. It's very interesting to run with the drivers with different skills. That's the guys who's slower, they can learn something from the faster guys. For me, it's too. I'm learning from the guys who is faster. I'm trying to maybe teach somebody, but still there is a lot of work to do.
Well, Abdul, before we let you go, for anyone that has never heard about you or have never seen you race before, can you give us a bit of insight into your sim racing? What have you done previously, or which races have you done previously in terms of league racing, and where you come from?
Well, I'm coming from Azerbaijan. Begin my sim racing. I actually started from the 2020, I think. I bought my first steering wheel and tried to run in career mode in F1. Then I raced in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and only I think in 2022 I began to race in the really big races of iRacing, such as Daytona 24, and that was the first race I ever run. About the league races, that's my first and for now the only one league race that I am running.
Well, Abdul, it's absolutely an honor to have you here, and I know you got some support out in the crowd as well here in the virtual grandstands of RaceFace.Pro. Anything you'd like to say, anyone that you'd like to thank, and especially for all our petrol heads, our sponsors, and the drivers and teams watching now and in the future right here at RaceFace.Pro.
Well, for the sponsors, thanks them for supporting you. Well, that's given us a new league, new challenges. So it's making us to race with our drivers. About the other drivers, I'd like if this driver is seeing me, I'd like to apologize with these two drivers that I caused crash with this BMW. I actually don't remember who was in, and the Ferrari that crashed into me. And I want to apologize about in front of them, and stay good luck to everybody else in the future.
Yeah, absolutely tremendous stuff. Well, 2 weeks' time, we head out to Imola, the Porsche being a favorite on that circuit. We look forward to seeing how you can do out there. Abdul, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you 2 weeks' time for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Absolutely tremendous stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does bring us to the end of round 2. Our second round of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series here on iRacing. Spa-Francorchamps, we say goodbye. 2 weeks' time, we go and take a look at Imola. But what you guys need to remember is please go and take a look at our amazing sponsors. Oddendorf Machinery Mart, SA Lube, SimuWorks Technology, Red Star Raceway, and also Scallywags. Go and take a look out on the social media for our sponsors. Go and be a part of the amazing efforts that they've got going on. There's some amazing, amazing specials coming on with Oddendorf Machinery Mart, SA Lube, amazing racing happening at Red Star Raceway. Scallywags also putting on some amazing shows in the world of drifting. And SimuWorks Technologies going and increasing the amount of sim racing products that is accessible in the world. So take a look at that. But right now, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, leave a like if you enjoyed the racing, and let us know what your favorite part of the race was right here at RaceFace.Pro. We'll see you next time. And this week on Thursday, we will be heading back with our RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship on Assetto Corsa Competizione. So tune into that starting at 5 minutes past 8. That is on Thursday night. You don't want to miss it. It's part of the World Qualifiers for the SRO Esports Community World Championship. It is our qualifiers. RaceFace.Pro got selected to be a part of it, and we want to see you guys there being a part of all the amazing fun, supporting our drivers, and also picking your favorite teams and drivers to win the race to represent South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll see you next time right here at RaceFace.Pro. And like always, a good morning, a good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.